Greetings and salutations, everybody. Sean here. Today, I want to talk to you about the Holdo Maneuver and how some fans seem to think that is a plot hole, that it opens up problems for future Star Wars movies. Because people now say, well, anytime that there's a battle in future Star Wars movies, all they have to do is use the hyperdrive to go into hyperspace and destroy whatever it is they want to destroy, just like Holdo did Snoke's ship and the First Order ships. Now, here are my thoughts on that. First and foremost, I seriously doubt that is the first time anybody has ever thought about using the hyperdrive in hyperspace as a weapon. Somebody somewhere had to have thought about that, but the thing is, they figured that maybe it wasn't the best idea. Now, you could put a droid in the ship, like a lot of people sit and say you could do. Just man a ship with a droid, point the ship at the target, go into hyperspace, and boom, problem solved. Well, let's delve deeper into this, okay? First and foremost, I think that much like with Holdo, a person would have to either be crazy, insane, or very desperate to the point where it causes them to make an irrational decision. And I think that's what Holdo was. Now, granted, there are probably other scenarios where people were in similar situations, but not everybody's going to think that way. Not everybody's going to act that way. Not everybody's going to come to that conclusion and use that maneuver. Now, the reason why I say it's not a plot hole is simply because of this. And I'm having to take real world examples and apply it to the Star Wars universe, at least in terms of logic or thinking. Nuclear weapons. We only use nuclear weapons twice, meaning we've only dropped 2 nuclear bombs in combat during war. That was in World War II. Both those bombs were dropped on Japan. We've never used them since. Never. Why? Because people recognize the destructive capability of nuclear weapons. And especially now when you're at a point where there are so many nuclear weapons out there, um, what number I don't know. But anyway, there's so many nuclear weapons out there that there is the real threat that if one person uses it, it could start a nuclear war, which should cause a nuclear holocaust, which has the potential of destroying all life on the planet, or the majority of life on the planet. And people recognize this. That's why people aren't launching nuclear weapons willy-nilly all the time now. As a matter of fact, nuclear weapons are most likely seen as deterrents. They're seen as things that keep each other in check. Ultimately, So the Holdo maneuver, or using the hyperdrive or hyperspace as a weapon, can be likened to nuclear weapons. People recognize the destructive capabilities. You see, what would happen if the resistance decide to start using that as a tactic? We'll just start using hyperspace as a weapon. Well, then the First Order will start doing that. Well, then other factions out there in the galaxy will start doing that. Next thing you know, people are just hyperspacing each other all to hell. And, again, just the destructive capabilities. That's one of those things to where you don't want you don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Now, in the movie, Holdo opened the door. Again, I would assume that other people have thought about this before, but Holdo opened the door for it. Just like the United States opened the door for nuclear arsenals during World War II, the use of nuclear weapons. But those are rabbit holes that you don't want to go down. So, while the hyperspace as a weapon is now viable within the Star Wars universe, that doesn't mean that people are going to start utilizing it. Now, one thing I want to ask too in regards to using the hyperdrive as a weapon is this. Exactly what are the destructive capabilities of it? Now, we saw in the movie when Holdo, she blasted at Snoke's ship. But then there were other First Order ships, destroyers, I think they were destroyers, I'm not really sure, but there were other First Order ships that were caught in that blast. that were behind Snoke's ship. So one has to wonder this. Exactly how far reaching does it go? When Holdo did the maneuver in the movie, how far out into space did 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 the effects of that go to? Does it does it continue, and does it something happen and the hyperdrive gets destroyed and it pulls the ship out of hyperspace and therefore stops it? If that was the case, well, I'm not sure. I'm not going to say that the case realistically. Then it wouldn't have done as much damage as it did to Snoke ships, because the second it hit it, it would have destroyed the hyperdrive, and that would have been the end of it. But maybe there's something with the hyperdrive that really adds that extra oomph to the momentum of whatever of the ship. Obviously, it adds to the momentum of the ship, which allows it to be able to be as destructive as it is. Excuse me. Or is it a situation to where it just pieces of the ship just keep going until they hit something and stop? You know, for example, if okay, suppose there's a big ship like Snoke's ships, and a smaller ship goes into hyperdrive and rams into Snoke's ship, and it destroys that ship, cuts through it. Well, are pieces of the ship now continue to fly through hyperspace? Do they keep on going till they hit another ship, till they hit an asteroid deep in space? Or how about a planet? What if they run into a planet? That's another thing you think of. I mean, imagine somebody uses imagine if there was a planet directly behind Snoke's ship and the First Order ships, and Holdo did that maneuver, and they went through those, and the hyper missile went through those ships, and it kept on going to the planet, and there's a city on the planet. Next thing you know, that city on the planet is being struck by debris from this ship that's in hyperspace, and it destroys that with a spectacular degree. So realistically, in order for that to be a weapon of such destructive capabilities that no one or not many people want to use it as a weapon, that would have to be the results of it. You know, just when you go into it, it just keeps going until every little bit of debris from the ship is stopped by impacting an object. So again, I think that's why it is not a plot hole, because I think either the characters in Star Wars would realize this, or they would theorize this, or they would come to that conclusion that the destructive capabilities of using hyperspace as a weapon is just too far great and too far risky to try, and only just somebody who is completely desperate who has been driven to the point of madness would use it. And one could say Holdo was driven to that point of madness by desperation. At least that's just my opinion on it. Let me hear your opinions on the Holdo maneuver and some of the things I discussed in my video. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. And until next time, catch you on the flip side.